Hi, welcome back to Box Delights and welcome to part 2 of the Too Many Bones playthrough series. In part 1 we had a look at the components. In part 2 we're going to choose our adventure, we're going to set up and we're going to start out the beginning of our adventure. I've decided to play Nugget. I'm going to play Solitaire, so I mean you'll understand that this is a game for 1 to 4. You can play Solitaire. Actually, I would recommend, if you're going to play Solitaire, playing 2 characters, because there's a lot of interaction between the adventurers. They're called gearlocks in this game. There's a lot of interaction between them. So playing Solitaire, you've got to be a bit picky about which one gearlock you're going to play. But, you know, playing Solitaire with one gearlock is much more manageable, and it's certainly doable. And there's a special set of encounter cards for the single gearlock game. So that's what we're going to do. In terms of bad guys, we're going to take on... I don't want it to go for too long, so and not too difficult. So I'm going to choose Molmesh. These are the tyrants you can choose to take on. You saw me in my Kickstarter preview taking on the Goblin King. We have Gendrix. I was tempted by him. Nom, Drellin, Marrow, Duster, and Molmesh. If you watch, Chips Theory Games have been putting some tutorial videos up, and they take on Drellin. You'll see Adam Carlson take him on. It's a really good video for learning how to play the game. So I'm going to brush over the rules as much as possible and give you a feel for how the game plays and offer my thoughts as we're getting into it. Gendrix is really nice, or Gendrix. I really like him too for a short game. The game length is given at the bottom, so more pips is a longer game. And also these 2 stats here give you an indication. So this is the number of days you have to complete the quest. Each round of the game is like a game day, if you like, an adventure day. So you can see that if I'm going to take on Molmesh, I'm going to have 9 rounds, 9 days to do it. And this is your target here, objective points. So the aim of the game is to achieve a certain number of objective points in 9 days, 9 rounds of the game. Okay, and we achieve these objectives by completing encounters. Once we've completed the designated number of objectives, then we can take on the end boss. This is our end boss. Alright, so we're going to fight him at the end, and that's how we claim victory. We adventure through a series of encounters in 9 days. We need 6 objective points before we can take on the boss and win the game. Each boss also brings different enemies with him. So Molmesh here brings beasts, bog baddies and scales baddies, lizard type creatures. But then you'll see there's other icons here, like Duster, for example, one of the longer games, will bring goblins, trolls, and you can see Marrow here brings orcs. Okay, so different enemies will bring different baddies with them. On the reverse of each card gives you a list of the skills, and also each tyrant is going to bring its own die. This is a dice building game, remember, all about dice. Molmesh will bring his own set of encounter cards. Some tyrants bring more tyrant encounters than others. Molmesh only brings 1. It says 1 of 1 at the bottom here. Someone like Duster brings 3. 1, 2, 3 encounters, and these are going to get shuffled into the encounter deck. The encounter deck, depending on whether you're playing cooperatively or solitaire, there's 2 decks. So we've got these are special encounters. They'll put those to one side. Okay, here's our solo encounter deck. In the bottom here it says solo. And then we've got the general encounter deck. This is the one you'll use when you're playing cooperatively. It's a thicker deck and there's more of you, but a shorter deck for the solo game. So there is more variability with the multiplayer game, or the cooperative game, because there's a bigger stack of cards. Alright, we're going to take out special encounters 1, 2 and 3. We're going to need those whether you're playing multiplayer or solo. These are the ones that are going to kick off your adventure and kind of ease you into it, give you some training points, get you starting battles. Okay, we'll put the others to one side. For the solo game, we're going to take, and it depends how many rounds, how many days we've got. 9, so we're going to take 9, take away 3 is 6 cards at random. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We've got 12 solo cards and we're going to take 6. So there's still quite a lot of variability in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to shuffle, the rest go back in the box. We're going to shuffle in the Tyrant encounter. This is mole meshes. And then we're ready to go. We're going to place 1, 2 and 3 on top. 1, 2 and 3. And we're ready to go. That's our adventure deck set up. Now we need to get the Tyrant his chip, his deck, the battle map and the progress map, and we'll get those placed out. There we go, we're nearly done. We're not going to be using the goblins, trolls and orcs, so these things are going to go back in the box. So we're only using a subset of the monsters, remember, the ones that Mole Mesh brings. We've got our 1.5 point, 20 point baddies up here ready to come in. I've got some health chips. Incidentally, these chip trays are just extras. You can find these on Amazon, that kind of thing. Is our battle map ready? Mole Mesh, he needs 6 progress points to reach, so we're going to place him here at Shale Fist. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the red dot 6. The day counter starts on day 1, like so. And then our party's progress, we start here in Obandar. Let's read our first encounter. Only 12 hours till dawn, and the send-off ceremony that will no doubt change the lives of every remaining Gearlock and likely every life in Daylor. Weapons and supplies are ready to go, but the night is young and adrenaline fills the veins. It's clear no sleep will be had tonight. There's sure to be some shady peddlers in dark alleys ready to deal in loot. And again, some last minute training could pay a nice dividend by morning. So what to do? Each card is now going to give you a choice. Some cards don't have choices, some are just going to direct you. But here we've got a choice. We can squeeze in some last minute self-improvement and gain 2 training points. Or we can shake down a shady peddler. We can gain 1 trading point and we may draw 2 loot and choose 1 to keep. Now here's the thing, Nugget, she's going to be good at loot. Alright, that's one of her strong points. Her innate is that she's a treasure seeker. When an encounter card tells her to draw loot, she gets to draw an extra 1. Okay, she gets to look at an extra card. And the innate +1 treasure hunter means she gets to keep an extra 1. So that's pretty neat. So for the most part through the adventure we're going to be looking for loot. That's, you know, playing to Nugget's strong points, but not right now. And right now I think the 2 training points are more valuable. This symbol at the top here, this shows you that no battle is going to occur as a result of this encounter. Normally it's encounter, battle, resolve battle, take the reward, move on to the next day. But this symbol, no battle. Okay. These symbols here represent a training point, 1 for each party member. So that's 1 + 1, that's 2 training points for each party member. Or if I take this choice, 1 plus this symbol here is a loot card, a regular loot card. Keep your rule book, keep your reference card, the Gearlock Adventuring Reference Guide handy, and each character has his own reference sheet as well. This tells you what their innates do. Okay, and it gives you an idea about what their strength is. Get to know your characters, and I'm going to teach you about Nugget as we play, obviously. Okay, alright, good stuff. So, training points. This is where we look at our player mat. There's different ways of spending your training points. Here's our dice. These are skill dice. There's 16 of them. Keep them in your tray numbered because that will help you organise, find the dice easily when you come to skill up. So to skill up, we can place one of our dice in one of these spots. Now some of these have got stars on. We have to start here. And if we want keen eye, for example, see these arrows, it's kind of like an ancestral tree of learning. Okay, or like a tech tree if you like. We can't learn this one until we learn this one. We call each one of these little trails, if you like, a profession. You notice the yellow ones here, these ones are consumables. They're different, they don't have an order to them and they can't be learned through training. In fact, Nugget starts with one of these consumables, sling stones, set to 0. Some of these consumables, they behave in a different way. These aren't rolled, these are kind of clocked up. So they start at 0 and then we clock it up to 1 and then up to 2. And we'll learn about those when we come to do them. These other ones, we're going to either get them through loot or through certain backup plans, some of these things up here, which we'll talk about soon as well. But professions, these are going to be earned through training. So one of our training points is we can grab one of these starred, one of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, 5 stars here. And for nuggets, I'm going to start with one of these skills. I'm going to take the Wildborn. Okay, so we take the skill die and we put it in this slot. Doesn't matter which side we put it on. It's not a consumable, it's a profession. It's just locked into one of these slots. Okay, and these are dice now that we can roll on our turn. This is called our skills area, where all these dice go. Over here in our prep area we've got nuggets. Character Chip, we're also going to take her initiative die and get that ready. And then we've got a set of regular d6. Right, and these are going to be used to upgrade these stats. This is called the stat area. And we've got health, dexterity, attack and defense. Attack says how many attack dice we can roll. Defense, how many defense dice we can roll. Dexterity says how many dice we can roll in total, so that's including our attack, defense, plus these skills. Health is how many health chips we get. I'm tempted to start Nugget with an extra health. So let's give her 1 extra health. Now when you use a training point, you can spend it on health, dex, attack or defense. For attack and defense though, let's say I wanted to increase her defense by 1. You don't just get to place the 1 die in here. Instead, we roll a defense die. I'm not going to do this. I'm actually going to increase her health. But let's assume I wanted to increase her defense. Keep a stash of attack and defense dice handy. I use the tray that came with the game to keep my attack dice, defense dice. These are effects. And then we'll look at some of these. These are initiative dice and so on. These are the tyrant dice. Actually, should take Molmesh's tyrant die. This is Molmesh's tyrant die. Let's put that with Molmesh. But let's take an attack die, and sorry, a defense die. If I wanted to upgrade attack, Nugget's attack is currently 2, so I take 2 attack dice. And what you do is you roll. So for defense, upgrading defense, you roll her current defense, which is 1. And what we're looking for is anything other than a bone. Okay, this is a bone. A bone is a miss in this game. Okay, so if I rolled a bone, my upgrade to training her defense fails. Alright, but with a success, that means I get to place a +1 on her defense stat. If I wanted to upgrade her attack right now, her attack is currently 2, so I'd roll 2 attack dice. Alright, now on the attack dice, there's only a 1 in 6 chance of throwing a bone. On defense die, there's a 2 in 6 chance of throwing a bone. So defense is harder to increase than attack. But you can see I rolled a 1 and a bone. That's a miss. Any bones is a miss, so the training of attack would fail. And I don't want to take this chance this early in the game to increase her defense, so that's why I'm not doing it. Instead, I'm going to increase her health by 1. That's the encounter complete. We've gained our 2 training points. And now we take the other rewards that the card offers. So in this case, 1 progress point. 1 progress towards our journey. So we move out of Evandar 1 spot along the progress chart. Our encounter card is complete. We can set this to one side, discard it. Now we're reaching the end of the first day. We've done our first part, which was start a new day. The second was encounter. We've done the third phase, reward phase. Now it's the recovery phase. And in the recovery phase, and look at your reference map, we can do one of 3 things. We can trade loot with the party. Now we're playing solitaire. We can't trade loot to anyone. But competitively, if you had acquired any loot, you could then swap it around yourselves. And we can search for better loot. We could be doing this. We can discard a loot and roll 6 attack dice. For each bone you roll, reveal a loot, and you may keep 1. Okay, so you get to look at some more loot and swap them out basically. Or we can scout the area, and that's the only thing that we can really do right now. You would rest and recover at the end of each day as well, which means your health goes back up to max health, up to full HP. So that's the other option. We're not there right yet. So let's scout the area. What we do here is we roll a d6. The game comes with 1 regular d6. We roll. We've got a 6. That's a good roll. So on a 6 it says reveal up to a 20-point baddie. Once revealed, you may cycle the baddie to the bottom of the active stack. Okay, up to a 20. That means we can reveal one baddie, and it can be either a 1 point, a 5 point, or a 20 point. Now as it goes, I'm not going to hit the 20 points or the 5 points for some time, so I'm going to have a quick scout ahead and see what I can see in the 1 point baddie pile. And it is a bog frog. Now at this point, I know I'm going to have to face this bog frog. He's got poison too, which I don't like. This is his health. This is his initiative. This just says he's a melee, whether he's melee or ranged. This is his type, so he's a bog baddie. Poison 2. If we look at our reference card, it tells us that we're going to be taking damage, true damage, I'll talk about true damage in a minute, equal to the number at the start of our turn. So that will be 2 damage on my first turn, and then you reduce it by 1, and then because 2 becomes 1, so then I take 1 poison damage, and then it's 0. So that will be 3 damage in total. Now my health is only 5. Let's take 5 health points here and give those to Nugget. I don't like that bog. I don't like that bog frog. So I'm going to stick him at the back. That's what scouting does. We may very well end up getting something worse, but who knows? Let's see. Alright, let's start a new day. So we rotate the day counter to number 2. Remember, we've got up to 9 days to beat Molmesh. And then we can draw our next encounter.